Welcome to Playing Above the Line. We're a podcast that takes a peek into the daily lives of community and business leaders. Each week, we uncover different views of the path to growth, leadership, and achieving success. I'm Dennis Sheeran.
And I'm Alan Cave. Dennis and I are both shareholders at Hartman, Blackman & Kilgore. We're a full-service accounting and business consulting firm. As CPAs, we've had the unique opportunity to work with many different leaders and decided we wanted a way to share their incredible stories that we've learned along the way. This week, we're joined by Brooks Conkle. Brooks is a native of Mobile, Alabama, and received a BS/BA in finance from Auburn University. After living abroad in New Zealand for about 18 months, he returned with a new attitude in business, to not just think outside the box, but to completely destroy it. To Brooks, life and business are one giant adventure, and he wants to push us all to live with that attitude.
Alan, another day. Here we are. How are you?
I'm good, Dennis. It's a beautiful, hot day in Mobile, Alabama, but we're ready for another great episode.
But we're chilled, sitting here in the
AC is
podcast studios of Deep Fried.
The AC is kicking, so that's a good thing.
Yep. Today we have a special guest, Brooks Conkle. Brooks, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here with you guys. Excited.
We are too. Okay. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
That's kind of a deep question. It's like where should I begin?
Exactly.
And let me back up and say the reason why where should I begin is because I had this belief or thought process that life and business is a giant adventure, and I think people should ride it, should get on it, which leads me to trying new things, always doing different things, new things. My wife and I actually discuss all the time, and we kind of laugh at ourselves because we say, like, 5 to 10 years from now, we have no idea. Like, we could be doing all the exact same things we're doing right now. Some of the things will be completely different. So I preface it with that. But so my wife and I together run a local media company called the Mobile Rundown. And so what we do is we connect the community through events, what's happening, and then in the last year, we actually expanded into event production with that business because, well, we said we're telling everyone what's going on. We're connecting the community with what's happening. Why don't we create some cool things that we see, some spaces for in the marketplace? And so the first big event we did with that business was we actually partnered up with some other people and created a company and created an event called the King Cake Off. It was actually back during Mardi Gras. It was our first one. We sold out. It was really cool. Learned a ton, but I think we have the groundwork to have a really neat, like, long-term event in the city of Mobile that'll be a really huge event going forward. And it may be year 4 that it's insanely huge. I'm not sure. And so sidestep from that, another event that was that we created is Gulf Coast BizCon, which is actually where I connected with you, Dennis, was at Gulf Coast BizCon. And so that was kind of a spinoff partially from that, but it's also its own business. I have another partner that I put that conference on, Brent McClure, that we created that conference. And so I guess I should start there and tell you that's kind of, the main things that I've got going on right now.
Well, let me ask you this. So you got a finance degree from Auburn. War Eagle, by the way.
War Eagle, yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, Dennis.
Okay.
It's all right.
But so what you're doing now really doesn't have anything directly to do with finance. So how did you end up doing these things with the finance degree from Auburn?
No, I mean, that's a good question. So it's really funny. So if I rewind back to school, I went to Auburn. I was actually going to major in engineering. I remember I went 1 week of school. I knew in a week, this isn't for me. I remember I had to go get a folder and take it from one school to another, from engineering to the business school. And it was like basically an empty folder, had my name on it, but they required me to go pick it up and walk it across the entire campus. So finance, I majored in that, never changed from that. I know a lot of students will change majors and not sure really what they want to do. I knew for sure that I was entrepreneurial. I found that out. I say found out. I kind of like discovered myself. And it was in high school. I was always a young kid selling baseball cards and trying to do deals and just fun stuff. And I always was interested in that kind of stuff. But I read a book called Rich Kid, Smart Kid. I read that in high school. It was by a guy, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the same kind of series. That, when I read that book, I was like, this is me. So I knew going to Auburn, to come back to your question, I kind of knew that I was going to school, but I knew that I would be doing business related stuff, maybe for myself, maybe for another company. I wasn't sure, but I'm extremely glad actually that I chose finance. I just think it gave me a great groundwork for what I learned there. So anything in the school of business, I think I would have been happy with. Maybe marketing or finance. Now, side related, I did take some real estate classes in finance, and I'm actually a licensed real estate broker. So my wife and I, we actually own our own company, and we do a few deals every year. We do a little part-time real estate. So I guess I could technically say that, I didn't go into banking per se, but I definitely got a lot out of what I learned there for that degree. So,
how long have you been out of college? How many years?
I graduated 2006. So do the math for me, guys. My CPA. Come on, guys. Yeah. So
I'm thinking, can't do math.
I'm thinking 13. So in 13 years, coming from a finance graduate at Auburn to starting something called BizCon Gulf Coast, what'd that process look like? I mean, how did you get from point A to point B? And I'm talking about BizCon especially because that's a really neat concept and a really neat thing that happened. And Dennis got to be on a panel, I think, at that. So talk a little bit about how you got there and what the genesis of the idea was, and what do you think the benefits are of that?
Sure, yeah. So, obviously it's a long route from college to now, so I'll fast. Dennis did great, by the way, at BizCon. Let me put that plug in there. Great job, Dennis.
Here's your 20.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was paid to say that. No, just he didn't actually take 20 out of his pocket. So Gulf Coast BizCon was born out of me having coffees with Brent McClure over a period of it was a period. It wasn't super long, maybe 3 or 4 months, and we were having these discussions. I went off to a marketing conference in Austin, Texas, and I went to that and I was like, man, this is great, but why did I have to go to Austin to get the kind of type of information that I was looking for? Kind of more cutting edge networking, actually being like a really important part of that. And not your standard go in a room and have a name tag networking, but like just true connections because you bring these types of people in a room together, and networking kind of is the result of that. It's not like there's nothing forced about it. It's the result of that. So over discussions, he was talking about creating a conference like with this idea in Mobile. And then when I went to Austin and came back, I said, hey man, I think I'm going to create a conference like this in Mobile. Were you being serious? Because if you were, I'd be happy to, partner with you on it. He said, I was absolutely serious. I said, okay, well then let's talk seriously. And then probably 6 months later, BizCon, the event happened. So, ton of work, ton of morphing ideas and changes. We adjusted how we were doing things, but completely excited about how our first year went. And I think we have a huge springboard for growing that as a event, not only just in Mobile, but obviously along the Gulf Coast, right? So attracting an audience along the Gulf Coast.
Well, that was one of the questions I had, because I believe the first year that event really started and created momentum and got a lot of interest, a lot of attendees. It was fun. It was kind of fun to be one of the few gray-haired people there, but but at the same time, I love being around creative people who have unique ideas and unique perspectives, and it had that. And so to take that last part of your statement a little further, what's next with it?
Sure. Yeah, good question. So me too. I enjoy being around the creative people too. You know what I mean? Like, so our goal, and Brent and I, during our planning phase, we had to get back to this phrase of, we're looking to create a conference that we want to attend. And there was a point where we kind of lost that a little bit as we were in our planning phases. How do we want to do this? What specific speakers? What topics are we looking for? And then we got back to the basics. I said, Brent, we're looking to create something that we want to go to. So let's stick with that. Let's do that. So I think, what we're doing is year two, we actually, I guess I'll go ahead and say this. We're actually launching we haven't publicly announced it yet, but we're going to do a 6-part speaker series here in Mobile. It's actually going to be hosted at the Container Yard.
Okay.
And so that'll be announced coming up soon. So we're excited about that. And that's a way to kind of obviously not have dead space between one year and the next, but to keep momentum and excitement up, some different topics. It'll also give us the time and energy and the ability to network and connect with more people and build momentum and excitement. But I think we're super excited with how year one went. We loved that we had panel discussions. We loved that there was open flow networking. I think I would even create some of the feedback that we got. We got a good bit of feedback from people, so we got some good stuff. I personally would like to even see the ability for a little bit more time for people to be able to naturally connect with each other. Not that we did a bad job at that. There was a huge lunch break where people got to make connections and there were breaks, but I would like to even build that a little bit more, because I think as people get those breaks, they get to have those conversations and natural conversations that lead to like some real relationships about. And people can go point out. And that's something cool too, I think, about BizCon, is that, so the people that spoke on the panels, you could find them and go connect and just have a conversation. It wasn't like I flew X person in and they were away
here and then
from
gone.
Yeah, they were on the stage and then they're away.
Right.
That's not how we did it, and I would assume that we would try to keep that vibe because now, no matter where the speakers come from, I think we try to keep that vibe because I think it was really important. And I think people gravitated towards that and they really liked it.
If we look around the central Gulf Coast up into the state of Alabama, what's out there that's similar?
So good question. So that's something that also we're doing, and I think it's pretty strategic on our part. So a few days after our conference, I drove over to New Orleans and went to something called the InnoConf, which was its first year because they had something called what was his name? I can't remember, but it just went to Canada, and it was a giant, like 25,000 person conference. It had grown to, huge. Wow. And so InnoConf had it was some people that were kind of jaded and kind of upset that conference had left. So I connected with the organizer of that and am in communication with him. So that's in New Orleans. There is a conference coming up I want to say it's in the fall. It's called EntreCon. It's in Pensacola. And I'm actually in communication with the organizers of that as well. And so what we're looking to do, and the three of us are kind of already getting along, we're looking to create synergy, right? So, hey, how can we help promote each other's conference? We're helping each other with speakers. I mean, she's already reached out to me and said, hey, I'm looking for speakers. Do you have any ideas? I said, hey, hop on our website, see who was on our panel, see who spoke. If you see anything that that attracts you, I'm happy to connect you, right? So I think those are some of the benefits, and I think that's going to be huge. I need to find more of those. There's the two for sure that I know of and that I have actually connected with. So if y'all know of more, or you hear of more, send them my way because I want to connect with them. So
sounds like an opportunity for expansion of BizCon.
It does. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in year two. So obviously you're a visionary and you're entrepreneurial in your spirit. You're passionate about what you do. Can you point to any one person or more than one person in your life that has had an influence on you as far as maybe a mentor or just someone who shaped your view on business and how to be a visionary and that kind of thing?
No. But well, I know.
Next question.
No. I'm
a self-made man. I like that's nothing wrong with that.
I'll absolutely talk to that point. I think it's a combination of a lot of people, resources, events. Parents clearly shape you. Although my parents aren't entrepreneurial, I guess I can thank my high school girlfriend's dad for giving me that book, right? Because it kind of revealed to me that, hey, this is kind of who I am, and I didn't even necessarily know it at the time. I connected with people in college that were entrepreneurial, and I kind of gravitated to them. Today, it's there's books, there's people, it's you guys, it's podcasts. I mean, I listen. Video and voice is interesting now. I don't know, and that's technology. I know that's kind of like where the future's going. I mean, you guys are creating a podcast. I think it's insanely smart. So podcast is a huge way that I gather, information, and obviously, different business leaders and stuff. But yeah, there's not one specific, but I think it's a culmination of everything. And then my incredible wife, who's in business with me, who listens to my crazy ideas, and I tell her, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna have 100, and out of every 100 ideas, I may actually tackle a couple of them, or attempt and go for it. And it doesn't even mean that those couple are gonna be successful. And she loves me anyway, and I think it's incredible, and that's probably the biggest piece. Because if I didn't have that support system, then I'd be in trouble, right? Because I'd be a lone ranger in that relationship, so that'd be tough.
Yeah, that's neat. So, looking at your bio, I realized that you earned the honor of being an Eagle Scout. You're always an Eagle Scout; it never goes away. So, congratulations!
Thank you.
And tell me about your experience of becoming or earning the rank of Eagle Scout.
I had a great experience overall in scouting. I think it taught me a lot. Guaranteed. I mean, it's helped me. I guess everything you do in life, right? Like shapes you and molds you into who you are, right? So clearly, I have the program to thank for part of whoever I am in the current time. So yeah, I think it's a great program. I had a great experience on the road to Eagle.
I mentioned it to you before we started the show. My youngest son is an Eagle Scout. Earned it back in 2014.
That's awesome.
And to just watch him, I get to be the great spectator. I got to participate as he wanted, but to watch the experience and what it continues to do for him, and it is something to be appreciated and always be proud of discussing. I did not make Eagle Scout. I was a Star Scout, and that's where I ended up. But to the effort and the commitment, the learning and the development you got that you didn't realize. Those are some of the keys.
Totally agree. Yeah, small percentage, only a small percentage, make it to Eagle Scout. Congrats to your son. That's incredible.
Yeah. So on the other side of that, I was reading your bio, and it talked about don't just think outside the box, destroy the box.
Yeah. That's my tagline. If you Google me, or you'll land on my website, and that's kind of like, it's a picture of me, and it's that exact quote's there. I started out saying life and business is one giant adventure, and I think that relates to that. It's not. It's everything that we do, and related to that, I used to think that the phrase life and business, whatever, it's like a roller coaster. I used to think that was kind of cliche, People like, oh gosh, here you go again. It's like a roller coaster. But then I actually started breaking that down within this last year. I was like, holy smokes, man. It really is like a roller coaster. Like if you really think about your favorite roller coaster, you're anticipating. There's crazy excitement. Sometimes there's boring parts. If you do the roller coaster 10 times, you're like, all right, okay, whatever. When's the next part? Let's go on a different one. So there are literally all emotions in life. And so in that phrase, don't just think outside the box, completely destroy the box, I think is all of that, is the adventure of life and business, life being like a roller coaster. You're going to hit brick walls, you're going to have exciting times, you're going to have it all. And so that phrase is meant as much for me as anyone else. Don't just think outside the box, but destroy the box. So yes, I want people to stop and think like, whoa, what is this guy talking about? But I'm also talking to me. So I should have worn my T-shirt that says "Destroy the Box."
You got a T-shirt?
Yes.
T-shirt,
yeah.
Get one of those. That's a great analogy. I love that. So in this
You're
adventure,
on my website, seeing a picture. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So in this adventure of life/business, what's next? Do you know? If we look, I know
Nope.
Asking somebody like you to look 5 years down the road is fruitless because you don't know what you're doing maybe next week. But is there anything? Do you have anything that's kind of in the back of your mind, gnawing at you, kind of thinking, all right, this is what I need to do next?
I would like to see some of these projects that we have going on right now. I'd like to see them grow and blossom, right? So they're young seedlings. I would like to see them grow. I'm sure that I could spend all my time on them. Will that happen? Will something else gain my attention and make me want to go after it? Probably, just because that's part of who I've accepted who I am. I've come to accept who I am. That that I might try something new, and I think starting new things is a part of my personality, and it's incredible. But no, I would like to see. I have no plans to grow Gulf Coast BizCon and sell it as a business. But maybe that'll happen, but I would just like to see it grow along the Gulf Coast and put Mobile. It helps. I feel like if I grow that and amplify it, we're helping Mobile. We're amplifying the city, amplifying the Gulf Coast. Same with our business, the Mobile Rundown. We're pretty passionate about the city. And so we're like, well, if we're connecting and telling people, hey, there's this stuff going on, included in that cool stuff is neat charity events and stuff that people just didn't know even existed, and we get a lot of event organizers are like, man, a lot of people, thank you, people told us they heard about it through your publication or whatever. And so with that, with the Mobile Rundown, we actually launched a magazine last year. So we have a free quarterly magazine, and out of that idea came the idea to create another standalone magazine highlighting nonprofits. So it's called Do Some Good Mobile. And so that's an annual publication. So we did that for the first time ever this year. That idea wouldn't have come about if we didn't say, hey, it's time to go into the print business. And that's funny. That's after being digital for 6 years. Most people go the other way around, right? They had a newspaper or something, and they go digital. Right. Well, we've been online, we email our website, social media, and then we said, hey, we need to find a way to cast our net wider in the city. And so we went to print, a free magazine. But so those ideas come out of the other ideas. And so if you asked me a year ago, hey, will you be producing 5 magazines in a year? I would said, what? Magazines? Why would I?
Yeah, why would I do paper?
Yeah, why would I even be doing magazines? But it's like a niche magazine. And it works and it makes sense, and it's and we're excited about it. So therefore, I don't know what the next springboard is out of those projects, if I'm being completely honest. But I want to see what we got going on right now currently. I want to see those blossom, right? So.
That's great. Listening to your story, listening to you talk, I always like to look at people and how they influence. And you're focused on community. You're focused on serving your community where you live, and appreciate that, because I think that many people want to do that, but you've found an outlet to do it. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
So what are you reading or listening to right now that you'd like to share?
Ooh, right now, really fun. Hold on, let me pop up my phone, because I have the Hoopla app. If no one has the Hoopla app, I highly recommend it. It's free. It's for through your local public library. So you can basically download all the.
Are you saying Hoopla?
Hoopla, Hoopla.
Okay, Hoopla.
Yeah,
okay.
and you have to have a library card in order to like sign in or whatever. But tons of the books you'd want to read, audiobooks or whatever, they're just for free. Yeah. So, let's see. On there, I'm in the middle of Called to Create by Jordan Rayner, which I've actually listened to that before. It was a good book. I'm listening to it again, and then this one called The Power of Now. By Eckhart, and I don't know how to say his last name, Tolle, Toll. I think he's like a spiritual leader. It's kind of interesting. But then on the podcast end, the main one I probably listen to is it's called Side Hustle School. It's by a guy named Chris Guillebeau. They're like 10-minute snippets of people that have side hustles from their jobs, and maybe they're making full-time incomes from it. Maybe they're making extra, whatever, $500 or something a month. It doesn't matter, but it's like people are doing that, and he's highlighting those stories. He has one a day, and it's like the third year of the podcast. Every day they come out with a story, and he just came out with a book for it. So it's really insane. To me, that kind of stuff is very motivational, because when I personally hit a brick wall, or I'm like, crap, that didn't work, or, okay, what do I do now? I can go to those stories and be like, dude, there are thousands of people right here in our country that have side businesses that are generating plenty of money. So it's okay. Like things will work.
The gig
so
economy.
I love that one. The gig economy.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, that's crazy.
And so if Shark Tank and The Prophet, Marcus Lemonis, if they had podcasts, I would listen to those. But So those are TV. Yeah. I watch those shows, and it's the same inspiration. I watch Shark Tank because I'm like, there's thousands of people on these shows having these ideas. It's just very motivational to me to see tons of people doing the stuff. Like, hey, you're not alone. You're not on an island. There's all these people with ideas and doing stuff. So
good.
I love it.
We were talking before the podcast started recording about travel and that kind of thing. I know that you lived abroad and in New Zealand actually for a little while after you graduated college. So what is what's the favorite place you've been, or is there something on your bucket list you're like, I just got to get there?
So New Zealand was an excellent experience. It was incredible. I had the opportunity to bungee jump, skydive. I learned how to make wine. I trained for a marathon. I learned how to ski. Like, I never skied before, and I lived kind of like, really close to the mountains up there. So like my whole experience. Oh, let me add this one too. I just want to tell people this. I lived in a van for like 3 months. Coolest thing, one of the coolest things I've ever done. It's not my personality. It's not like what I would do, but tons of people were doing it there. Like when I traveled in 2006, people were like buying these camper van type things, and they had beds in them. They were converting them. It was literally just like a camper van. But so I just bought a van and like built the bed stand frame and like just camped out of the van. And I did it for like 3 months or something like that, and then ended up selling the van to another couple that wanted a camper van. So I actually made money on that van. It's like I flipped the van. So
it's pretty cool.
It was crazy. But so New Zealand's probably the top place I've ever been. I would like to go to South America. Never been to South America, and I really desire to go there. Colombia, Chile, Argentina, maybe.
All good places. This conversation is right up Dennis's alley. We could sit here and talk for 2 hours.
Yeah. I'm trying to be good.
I know. Unfortunately, we don't have that kind of time. But so the last question I'll leave you with is one that I'll be interested to see what you have to say. So as you leave, get in your car and head to your next adventure for the day, you're stopped by a spaceship that lands, and a little alien walks out and walks to your car and knocks and says, "Brooks, take me to your leader." Where are you going to take him?
I'm like picturing the alien.
He's green. He's standard.
I'm like, what does this guy look like?
3'4".
Yeah, small, bald-headed.
It'd be a group of people. It would be. I think my overall answer for that would be family, and by family, my answer is a little bit more broad. So it includes my wife, my son, my father, sister. That group includes the community at the local church where I attend. I think like all that is in the family category. I would take the alien to my family and say, hey, here's my here's my leader.
Great.
Leaders.
Nothing wrong with that.
I love it.
That's good.
Yep.
Brooks, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks,
It's
man.
been a pleasure. It's been a great conversation.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Good time.
Check out brooksconkle.com, and Conkle is spelled Conkle, and themobilerundown.com to see more of what's going on with Brooks.
Well, thanks for listening to our podcast today. To never miss an episode, subscribe to Playing Above the Line at iTunes and anywhere else you get your podcast. And be sure to leave us a rating. We'd love to know what you think about our show.
To contact us or to stay connected, follow us on social media at HBKCPAS on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Thanks for listening.